Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, BNEWS reporters Chris Flaherty, John Vias, and Robert Parris, Peter Brown with the weather, Maddie Shipko with the community calendar, and Robert Parris will be doing double duty on sports today. Thank you for joining us. Burlington state election results are in, and in many races, Burlington voters went exactly with the rest of the state. The race for governor, Burlington voters supported incumbent Republican Governor Charlie Baker with 8,202 votes to Democratic challenger Jay Gonzalez, 2,796. Of course, as a whole, the state voted to re-elect Baker. In the vote for Massachusetts Senator, Burlington gave 5,978 votes to Democratic incumbent Elizabeth Warren and 4,835 votes to her Republican challenger Jeff Deal. The state as a whole voted to re-elect Warren to the U.S. Senate. Independent candidate Shiva Ayyadurai garnered 429 votes in town. In the Attorney General's race, Burlington voters voted to re-elect Maura Healey over challenger James McMahon. The state also went with Healey. Burlington voters also went for the incumbent in the Secretary of State race, giving William Galvin roughly 4,000 more votes than Republican challenger Anthony Moore, and many more votes than Green Rainbow candidate Juan Sanchez. At the state level, voters also re-elect Galvin. In the state treasurer race, Burlington voters went for incumbent Deborah Goldberg over Republican challenger Keiko Oral and Green Rainbow challenger James Guerin, the same as the state level. In more local elections, Burlington had incumbents without challengers to vote for. State Senator Cindy Friedman and State Rep Ken Gordon will each serve for another term, as will District Attorney Marion Ryan. As for the ballot questions, Burlington voters went with the rest of the state in voting against ballot question 1, which set a limit on how many patients could be assigned to each registered nurse, with 7,443 votes against and 3,230 in favor. On question 2, which asked voters to create a commission to consider amendments to the U.S. Constitution regarding corporation contributions in elections, Burlington voted in favor 6,786 to 4,228. On question 3, which would add gender ID to the list of prohibited grounds for discrimination in public accommodations, Burlington voters decided in favor with 7,065 yes votes to 4,228 no votes. In total, 11,443 or 69.6% Burlington voters exercised their right to vote, quite a contrast to the local elections. This marked an upturn over the last midterm election in 2014, which saw 60.5% turnout. Temple Shalom Emeth held a special Shabbat service in the wake of the shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, bringing together all forms of faiths. BNews reporter John Vias was in attendance and has this report.
On Friday, November 2nd, a large crowd of community members gathered together at Temple Shalom Emeth for a very somber Shabbat service dedicated to the victims of the shooting that took place at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The man responsible for this hate crime has had a history of anti-Semitism, killing 11 innocent people and wounding 3 police officers. This week's service was a stern reminder of faith and unity. Rabbi Susan Abramson and State Representative Ken Gordon both said not only was it an attack on the Jewish community, but an attack on all people.
It was disbelief. I did not know. I couldn't fathom the fact that this was happening. I kept thinking there has to be some mistake or something. I just could not wrap my head around the enormity of the tragedy when I first heard about it.
Not again. I mean, when we heard about it on that Sunday, another shooting, and this time it was a shooting that was motivated by communication that was being passed around in the media. Communication about, as it turns out, a group of asylum seekers who were on Mexico's southern border 1,000 miles away from the United States, and fear that's being mongered for a political purpose. And I thought, sooner or later, something's going to happen, and it did.
Having the Interfaith come together as one was a comforting feeling for those who attended the service, and served as a reminder that we are one, no matter where a person comes from.
I can't begin to tell you how comforting it is when people are grieving. In Judaism, we have something called sitting Shiva. It's 7 days of mourning in which the people who are grieving aren't doing anything. All they do is have other people come to visit them and to be with them, and not necessarily to mourn and to cry, but also to laugh and to remember. Everybody came here for us and to support us, and it really means a lot to everybody here. And I had several members of the congregation come up to me and they said they feel a lot better now, that they were feeling hopeless and they now have hope.
Basically, gatherings like these are tremendously helpful. This is, first of all, how great is this country? A gathering like this is not really possible in many countries, and America is one of them. But by having that, by breaking bread with your fellow, believer from the Jewish tradition, from the Mormon tradition, from the Muslim tradition, the Hindus, the Sikhs, we just have a better understanding of each other. And, in my opinion, we all, at the end of the day, realize that we're all just the same and we want the same thing.
Finally, it is important to be friendly with one another and take a stand if we want to put a stop to such hatred and violence.
Well, we need to be nice to each other. We need to treat each other with respect and kindness and compassion, no matter what our political opinions. We need to just view each other as all made in God's image and treat each other as if we are all equally human and equally worthy of respect and dignity.
If we can just all be nice to each other, and they'll be nice back, and they'll be nice to other people, because if they notice that they're being good from one to another, then maybe the whole world can become just one big community. Put your feet in other people's shoes.
From Temple Shalom Emeth, I'm John Vias for BNEWS Weekly.
Burlington's representatives in the State House have introduced a bill to dedicate a bridge in town to the only Burlington resident to sacrifice his life in the service of the United States military since the attacks of September 11, 2001. Representative Ken Gordon joined his colleagues in the House to pass a bill that would rename a bridge on Cambridge Street at I-95 in Burlington the Lance Corporal Gregory E. McDonald Memorial Bridge. Marine Lance Corporal Gregory McDonald, a Burlington resident, gave his life serving during Operation Iraqi Freedom. State Senator Cindy Friedman announced on Thursday that the bill also passed in the Senate and is now heading to Governor Baker's desk for signing. Gordon said it is important to remember those who gave their lives for the country and that dedicating the bridge in honor of McDonald is a small way to honor his service. Senator Friedman said the timing of the bill is appropriate considering the upcoming Veterans Day observance. McDonald graduated Burlington High School and subsequently moved to Washington, D.C., where he earned a master's degree in philosophy and Near East policy from American University in 2001. In 1999, he joined the U.S. Marine Corps Reserves as a member of the Bravo Company, 4th Reconnaissance Battalion at Fort Detrick in Frederick, Maryland. Lance Corporal McDonald was activated in February 2003. McDonald died on June 25, 2003 in the city of Hilla, Iraq, at the age of 29. While another Marine unit was under ambush, Lance Corporal McDonald's light armored vehicle raced to assist when the vehicle flipped, killing McDonald and injuring 2 other Marines. Lance Corporal McDonald remains the only veteran from Burlington to be killed following 9/11. The Burlington D'Angelo Grilled Sandwiches shop on Middlesex Turnpike has closed. The restaurant closing coincides with numerous closings of D'Angelo and Papagino's locations over the weekend that saw the laying off of more than 1,000 employees in New England states. On Monday, PGHC Holdings, Inc., the parent company, said it had filed for bankruptcy and had planned to sell the company to Illinois-based Windchurch Capital, a private equity firm. The terms of the agreement have not been released to the public. Court documents say PGHC Holdings is roughly $100 million in debt. As of this taping, Burlington's Papagino's was still open. Monday, November 6th, round 1 of the Burlington Idol was held by Chops American Bar and Grill in the Burlington Marriott, showcasing various talent from the Burlington area. BNEWS entertainment reporter Chris Flaherty has an inside look at the program and a recap of the first round.
One of Hollywood's classic reality show competitions has come to Burlington. Monday, November 6th, the first round of Burlington Idol was held at Chops American Bar and Grill in the Burlington Marriott.
So Jay Pissarros, who's our music director here, and 451, our PR agency, and I sat down one day and we're like, well, what can we do for fun that involves a music program that we're very successful at. And, we came up with a singing competition. We were like joking around called karaoke. But I said, you know what, let's do something really fun. And, The Voice is really popular, American Idol is really popular. And we basically wanted to do a community outreach and go after the Burlington residents. Obviously, we opened it up to a greater audience, but that's how Burlington Idol came about. I mean, we're overwhelmed by the people that turned out for it to support it, but the artists and the singers were absolutely amazing. I think better than we could ever imagine. The response of the people that sent in their initial videos was beyond anything we ever thought it was going to be. So we were definitely pleased and completely flattered at the same time.
I thought it went great, We had a great turnout of talent. I mean, that's the whole name of the game. If you got good talent, then you have something to stand on. And a lot of talented people came out tonight. Went smoothly, and I just imagine it building from here.
The night began with 14 singers and ended with 9 moving on to the next round. I had a chance to speak with some of the contestants about their experience so far and their initial thoughts going into round 2.
I didn't think I'd get this far. I just wanted to perform for my friends and my family. It'll be fun, but I'm a little more nervous now because it's like a real competition. I'm like, oh my God, okay.
I think today was an awesome learning experience, getting to hear so many talented, amazing musicians, and I'm very excited for next week.
I'm happy to see all the people. I'm new here since 2 years and a half. It's another language also for me. I'm French Canadian, which means my primary language is French. That was great. I really enjoyed it. A lot of people that really a lot of talents. Next week, I will think about that. I got some ideas about which song I will sing. I mean, simple is beautiful. Just gonna think some good stuff that can put the value on the voice, and that'll be it.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm gonna go all out. I'm gonna wear an 80s outfit. I'm just gonna have so much fun with it because this is such a cool and fun opportunity, and I'm just gonna have fun.
While they wish for everyone to enjoy the competition and have a great time, Chops also hopes that audiences and participants walk away from Burlington Idol with a better sense of both the Burlington and the music community.
The entertainment industry is a very difficult industry, and a night like tonight is just kind of an excuse to get together and I don't want to say share in the difficulties, but have a moment together and see who's out there doing what, make some new connections, make some new friends. Just have a good time, really. I hope people had fun tonight. That's it, yeah.
I think that, one of the things we pride ourselves on is community outreach. And I think that, once we get involved with people like Jay and 451, they just allow us to kind of do the things that we want to do that are fun for the community, to keep people involved. And, it is really for the community more than anything else. And, Chops is very fortunate to be here and we get to host it, but at the same time, it's really about the people.
Who will be the first Burlington Idol? Be sure to stay tuned to BNEWS this month as the competition continues. Until next time, this is Chris Flaherty for BNEWS Weekly.
The criminals are getting more and more sophisticated. The Federal Trade Commission is warning residents of a new type of scam that uses 2 different techniques to convince victims of the legitimacy of the fraudulent caller in an effort to get personal information. The scenario plays out like this. You get a call from someone claiming to be from your bank, and the caller ID on your phone also indicates the person is telling the truth. Why Verizon can't stop that, I don't know. The caller then gives you some correct information about your account, like the last 4 numbers of your debit card and some part of your Social Security number, and says your account has been compromised. This does not mean it's legitimate, and scammers aren't counting on the call being so unsettling that you might not stop to check your bank statement. The Consumer Protection Organization said it started hearing about phone scams like this, which combine 2 scammer tricks, spear phishing and caller ID spoofing. In a phishing attempt, scammers may make it look like they're from a legitimate company, and when they call or email with specific details about you, asking you to verify the information in full, that's how they fill in the blanks and get the rest of your information. Here's how you can avoid these scam tactics. Don't assume your caller ID is a spoof of whom you're dealing with. Scammers can make it look like they're calling from a company or a number you trust. If you get a phone call, email, or text from someone asking for your personal information, do not respond. Instead, check it out using contact info you know is correct. Don't trust someone just because they have personal information about you. Scammers have ways of getting that information. If you gave a scanner your information, go to identifytheft.gov, identify theft.gov, you'll learn what to do if the scammer made charges on your accounts. Grandview Farm was full of people on Tuesday night to check out photos of Burlington's green spaces and natural beauty. It was a culmination of the Burlington Conservation Commission's first photo contest meant to get people outside and into nature. BNEWS Director Rich Hosford was there and has this look.
The talent of Burlington residents behind the lens of a camera was on full display this past Tuesday night at Grandview Farm during the showcase of the Conservation Commission's first photography contest. Mounted photos lined almost every table, shelf, and display area of the historic building, showcasing scenes of the nature taken in town and highlighting the natural beauty of Burlington's green spaces. The competition was a way to inspire people to get outside, enjoy nature, and search for those perfect moments that capture the beauty of Burlington.
So we wanted to inspire people to go outside, get outside, take pictures of what they think is beautiful in Burlington, specifically the natural spaces and all of the conservation areas that they may visit. So that was the inspiration behind it, and just to kind of celebrate that by having it showcased at an event like this.
The contest organizers were not sure how many people would join, and the number of entries and the turnout for the gallery pleasantly surprised them.
I thought that we'd only get maybe like 20 photos or so, but we ended up getting almost 150 photographs and then a lot of artwork from the local schools as well. So I was totally overwhelmed with how much came in, and it was great. So it totally exceeded my expectations.
The contest was open to both professional and novice photographers and to residents of all ages, and just like the number of entries, the quality of the submissions was a welcome surprise.
I was totally, again, my expectations were, it went way above what I expected. All of the quality of the photographs, even from the youth, were amazing. So I guess I was really happy with the quality of the photographs, and the subject matter and all that was great.
Numerous winners in various categories were announced at the event, and I had a chance to talk to some of them about how they chose their subjects.
So I was walking down in my school and I saw like this assortment of colors of leaves and stuff. So I put them all together and I put in some berries because I really like the colors and the leaves, and I took up a close-up shot. I really liked the way it came out because I feel like it could be in like a background, or like I could put it on like mugs or like something else. I feel like it could really be like a professional artwork.
So we took this photo in class, and our teacher had brought in a flower from her garden. And she lives in Burlington, and my photography teacher said take at least 200 of this flower because you're not going to get the right angle. So we laid it down on the table, and I was one of the maybe 3 kids who decided to take a photo of it. So then I finally got, out of 200, this one that I wanted to edit, and I blackened out the background just to make the color pop, and then I brought up the brightness.
I chose this photo because I loved the contrast of the black spider and the beautiful sunset in the background.
My idea was just to capture a beautiful picture of a milkweed exploding with spores. That was my vision. And then I did explore the park quite a bit for a couple of hours until I found just the right picture where all the spores were coming off, and there was a light wind that day, and they just kind of blew off the plant.
The photographers were excited to have their work shown and for the opportunity to share their work with the community.
I didn't honestly think that mine was that good, honestly. I thought a lot of people's were better. I was actually surprised that mine got picked.
I feel really excited showing my artwork to everybody since I don't really show my artwork a lot, so it made me really happy.
Very happy. I've got a lot of good feedback from it. A lot of people, when I say this is my photo, they like it a lot. And even other people around mine, seeing different photos, it gives you different inspiration for next time you're going to go take your camera outside.
Well, it's very special. I live in town, so to be a winner at the first annual Burlington Photographic Contest, it's a privilege. It's actually, I'm just overwhelmed.
At Grandview Farm, I'm BNEWS Director Rich Hosford.
Congratulations. Burlington's representative to the state Senate has garnered a new caucus position with the mission of helping women in the Commonwealth. On October 29th, Senator Cindy Friedman was appointed Senate Chair of the Massachusetts Caucus of Women Legislators by Senate President Karen Spilka. The caucus was previously chaired by Senator Linda Dorsina-Forey, who recently left the Senate to serve as Vice President of Diversity, Inclusion, and Community Relations at Suffolk Construction. Friedman says she was excited to chair the caucus and is looking forward to working to advance the Caucus of Women Legislatures agenda by fighting for initiatives that will ensure equal pay for equal work, stop sexual harassment in the workplace, and ensure equitable access to health care. Friedman's duties will include working in coordination with House Chair Representative Carolyn Dykema, and caucus members to advocate for policy initiatives that benefit women, facilitate networking events to connect and empower women, and raise awareness and engage the public about issues impacting women across the Commonwealth. Established in 1975, the Massachusetts Caucus of Women Legislators was formed with a mission to enhance the economic status and equality of women and to encourage and support women in all levels of government. It is a bicameral and bipartisan organization that is comprised of the women's state legislators at the State House. There are now 2 scholarship organizations in town. The Board of Selectmen is seeking to fill 4 seats on the Scholarship Fund Committee, which was created to handle the tax checkoff money, which now is about $25,000. The Scholarship Fund provides educational aid to town residents as per Massachusetts state law, with the funds being provided through donations from residents through the checkoff system on municipal bills. The purpose of the Scholarship Fund Committee is to determine the amount of percentage of funds that shall be authorized for the distribution subject to town and state regulations. If you wish to be considered for this position, please send a letter of interest, including a resume, and the application to Betty McDonough at bmcdonough@burlington.org. I don't have to tell you, the days are shorter and the cold weather has for the most part arrived. We go now to BNews weatherman Peter Brown in our weather center for the latest forecast. We'll also check out the community calendar with Maddie Shipka to see what's happening in and around Burlington.
Well, hello everyone, and this is Peter Brown with a look at your weather for the next 7 days. And I know it's hard to believe, but here we are going into the second full week of November. That's really something. The time is marching by pretty quick, and we are getting to that all-important holiday season in the next couple of weeks. Now, starting out our period on Friday, we're going to be seeing a little bit, probably more of the same like we've been seeing the past month or so. Temperatures fairly far below the average. We're only going to be starting out our period in the mid-40s on Friday. Now, if you have to be out and about at night in the Burlington area, going into early Saturday morning, you're going out doing maybe some shopping, maybe getting some dinner, it's not going to be too cold, but we are going to see quite a powerful system coming into the Burlington area late Friday night into early Saturday morning, with probably maybe on the order of 2 to 3 inches of rain. So keep that in mind if you do have to go out. It's going to be pretty wet and pretty stormy out there. Now, of course, we're going to be pretty far away from our average high temperatures this time of the year, and that's going to be a trend we're going to see really going out the next almost 10 to 15 days, bringing us into the Thanksgiving time frame. And of course, like we see right here, at the middle of November, as we get towards the end of the period, November 15th, our average highs are pretty cool now at this time of the year, only around 50, and we are going to be much cooler than that as we get to that time frame. And of course, now, after the clocks have gone back, we have a little bit more light in the morning, but that sun is now going down before 4:30 in the afternoon, so a sure sign that winter is on its way. Now, as we go ahead, we're going to look at a little bit about the precip and temperatures that we're expecting. Then this will bring us up to about the Thanksgiving time frame, so that all-important Wednesday before Thanksgiving when everybody's traveling. Now, according to this map from the Climate Prediction Center, looks like here in the Northeast and actually across much of the country, we're looking at drier than average temperatures. Now, this, of course, isn't taking into effect what's coming at us this Friday and into early Saturday, so that's not quite being reflected in this map, but this is actually bodes well for us for travel for the Thanksgiving time frame. Looks like it's going to be pretty dry over most of the country. As we go ahead and show you a little bit about the temperatures, and this is again going to be a little bit disappointing for any of those of you who really were enjoying that warm weather we had back in early October. Looks like, especially up here in our area, in the Burlington area and all of New England, much below average temperatures for our area. So although it's going to be dry, it is going to be chilly out there. Now, as we go ahead and we take a look at our 7-day forecast coming up, we're going to see that noted in all of the days. Look at these temperatures coming up, especially when we get to the end of the week. Now, starting out on Friday, again, we're going to see those showers start to move in around the lunchtime hour, and that's going to then lead to some very heavy rain going into early Saturday morning, again on the order of 2 to 3 inches of rain, perhaps. And temperatures on Friday only into the mid-40s. Now, Saturday, this high temperature in the low 50s, we're probably going to see that around dawn as the storm starts to exit away from our area, and then the temperatures are going to really take a nosedive as we go into the afternoon. Look at this going into early Sunday morning, temperatures only in the mid-20s. And if you're going to be out there for any of our festivities and any of the parades for Veterans Day coming up on Sunday, make sure you bundle up. It's going to be breezy. Temperatures barely making it to 40. And if you have to be out at night, look at this. We're going to see lows getting down to the low 20s, maybe even the upper teens as we head into early Monday morning. And of course, then as we start to head into Tuesday, we may see a little bit of a mess starting to develop here in terms of a storm. We may see a storm that's going to bring enough cold air that we could start as a very brief period of light mixed rain and snow. Then that transitioning over to another pretty heavy rainstorm on Tuesday for us, and temperatures only in the mid-40s. But as we get into Wednesday, though, we're going to really notice that cold air coming down from Canada. Temperatures not even making it out of the 30s. But rounding out the end of our week as we get to Thursday, we're going to see that drying trend coming towards us. Again, chilly, only in the low 40s, but some beautiful weather if you can get out there. Nice dry conditions, no rain and snow by the time we get to the end of the period. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.
I'm Maddie Shipka, and this is your community calendar. I'm dying for some pie. On Thursday, November 15th at 7 p.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having a presentation with Robert Cox entitled New England Pie. Come and learn about the history of pies and pastries and what it says about New Englanders. Everyone is welcome and the event is free. For more information, visit burlington.org or call 781-270-1690. It's time for parents to go back to school. On Saturday, November 17th from 8:30 a.m. to noon, Burlington Public Schools will be having their third annual Parent University. Parents of students grade pre-K through 12 will have the opportunity to attend workshops and interact with education and health professionals regarding a variety of topics related to students' learning and development. Everyone is welcome. The event is free, but pre-registration is required. For more information and to register, visit burlingtonpublicschools.org. Enjoy a day exploring a variety of local produce, fish, gourmet treats, and more. On Saturday, November 24th, the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department will be having a day trip to the Boston Public Market. You will also have some time to shop and dine at a variety of vendors. Pre-registration is required and everyone is welcome. The cost of the trip is $51 per person. For more information and to register, visit burlingtonrecreation.org or call 781-270-1695. I'm Maddie Shipka, and this has been your Community Calendar.
The Red Devil sports season is drawing to a close, but a couple of teams are battling it out in the postseason. For the latest, we go to Robert Paris for this week's sports report.
Hey everyone, I'm Robert Paris for your weekly sports report. We start off with some bad news. The varsity football team traveled to Belmont this past Friday night for a non-conference game against the Marauders. Unfortunately, they did not pull through. We have some highlights. Let's check them out.
Last Friday night, the Burlington Red Devils faced off against the Belmont Marauders in a non-league playoff game. In the first quarter, Burlington would go 3 and out and a forced punt to Belmont, who ran it all the way back into the end zone for a touchdown.
And gains some yardage and breaks free and goes to the end zone.
Next possession, Burlington would be in the red zone territory as quarterback Kyle Pena handed it off to Jake Doherty for a Red Devils touchdown. Later on, quarterback Avriano handed it off to running back Rocky Joseph, who ran all the way into the end zone for another Marauders touchdown. Then on another possession quarterback, Avriano ran it himself. Near the end of the second quarter, Belmont would score one more time with a running play made by Rocky Joseph with the final score 28-7 Belmont.
And Belmont is just gonna cruise right on.
Burlington would play another non-playoff game on the road this Friday night against the Revere Patriots at Harry Delarusso Stadium at 6:30 p.m.
On a positive note, the girls' varsity volleyball team is entered the D2 North Finals. On Thursday evening, the team traveled to Stoneham High School to go against the #1 seed, the Arlington Catholic Cougars. The Lady Devils pulled off an impressive win over the Cougars with a final score of 3-1. Coach Courtney Wallace said the team had had a lot of success this year when they focused on their game in terms of offensive productivity, team defense, and aggressive yet consistent serving. The girls won't have a long time to relax as they will travel to Tewksbury High School this Saturday to take on the 2-seeded Linfield Pioneers at 3 p.m. The Pioneers defeated number 11 seed Melrose with a final score of 3-0. The overall record for Linfield is 21-2, with only 2 losses of the year being against Masconomet and North Andover. Linfield are 13-1 in the league. The Pioneers' defense allowed 2 points or less by their opponent. Burlington defense, however, also allowed 2 points or less by their opponent. The BHS varsity cheerleading team has been hard at work practicing and training for the football games and their cheerleading competitions. I went to meet with the squad as they gear up for the regionals, and I have this report. Kick, flip, and pull. Those are just some of the things this BHS team does on a daily basis. This week I went down to the Burlington High School Gymnasium to catch up with the BHS varsity cheerleading team.
I had a great high school cheerleading experience in my own life, and I just am happy that I get to give these girls kind of the same thing. I love the game atmosphere, I love the school spirit aspect, the competitive aspect of it as well. So it's kind of all three things. I coached competitive cheerleading for years and years and years, but this is different because it's school spirit, it's school pride, it's football games and Friday night lights and all that stuff, and so those things are fun.
I had a chance to speak with the 2018 captains.
We've been cheering since we were 7 years old. My sister did it, my older sister, so I feel I just kind of went into her lifestyle, and I loved it ever since. So.
Yeah, all my friends did it, like Kate and stuff, so I did gymnastics and dance when I was younger, and then I started cheering, and I just never looked back.
Same with Jessie and Kate. I danced when I was little, and my sister did cheering. She's 12 years older than me, so I always wanted to follow in her footsteps.
The cheer season is limited, which means there are a numerous amount of exercises to go through before game day.
High school season is really short, so they don't have a lot of time to put together the routine and perfect it. We are lucky this year. We are in really good shape, and we haven't had any injuries, knock on wood, but we've been practicing since double sessions, just like the football team, since double sessions, so that was the second to last week in August. They get choreographed, and they're in training and they practice about 10 to 12 hours a week.
Practice makes perfect. The team goes through a variety of stunts and acrobatics during their performances.
They're very difficult.
Yeah,
so 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
So basically our routines are about what Jamie just said, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and we're doing the most competitive jumps, stunts, tumbling, all in that really short time, so it's you have to have a lot of stamina, and you're also really focusing on each other and working together as a team. So if one girl's off, the whole team gets misscored. So it's a lot of teamwork combined with really intense cardio and skills.
Yes. It's really difficult. We worked a lot. We've come a long way to get us to do our routines. They're very difficult.
There's so many just little parts that you wouldn't expect that go into a routine, things that you don't even see that we have to take time and put work into for those.
Yeah.
Finally, cheerleading is a hard-fought sport and requires teamwork as well as physical and mental toughness.
I honestly believe that cheerleading is probably the only sport that really requires 100% teamwork, because nothing on the mat that they do works without every single person on the mat doing what they're supposed to do. So the life lessons that they learn is probably way more valuable than the routine that they're competing. They learn how to work together. They learn how to rise through adversity, through failure, through successes. There's really a lot to offer there.
The relationships, I feel I mean, it's going to be so hard leaving them. We've been cheering together for so long, so it's going to be crazy, just not being able to cheer with them next year. But
something I think I'm going to take away from it is knowing how to persevere. Cheerleading is really mentally tough just as it is physically, so there's a lot of intimidation with other teams and a lot of physical difficulties to flip yourself over and do crazy stuff. So definitely learning how to persevere in tough times and not giving up is something that I'll take away from cheerleading.
Yeah, what they both said, I'm definitely going to take away the relationships, because unlike other teams, we've been cheering together since we were pretty much in first grade, all of us together. And to leave this year is definitely going to be really sad, but it's our time to move on.
Yeah.
From Burlington High School, I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Weekly. And that is all for your weekly sports report. I'm Robert Paris. Back to you guys in the studio.
Another week, another photo to highlight. This week we have another cute Halloween photo featuring another young Burlington resident. It was sent in by Kathy Johnson and shows little Kinsley dressed up as a monkey for her first ever Halloween. We're sure she was a big hit out trick-or-treating. Thanks for the photo, Kathy. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of something you see around town, the weather outside your door, or photos of your family members, friends, and pets. Whatever you think is interesting and would like to share with us and the community. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. And that's it from the news desk here at BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford. BNEWS reporters Chris Flaherty, John Vias, and Robert Parrish, Maddie Shipka with the community calendar, and Peter Brown with the weather. Thank you for joining us.